Here's a question. Can a horror movie do more than just scare you? See, over the past few years of doing my Actually Scary series, I wanted to talk about horror movies that didn't freak me out, but were still wild, dramatic, and very entertaining. So for the next time you're scrolling through Netflix or Amazon or whatever, here are 6 more horror films that are actually good that you may enjoy. First up is a classic I couldn't not mention, and that's A Nightmare on Elm Street. In a lot of ways, Elm Street reminds me of The Thing. You have a concept that has enough rules and stakes to create a consistent storyline, but offers almost total freedom when it comes to the actual horror. Much of what keeps you glued to the screen is waiting to see what kind of weird creature or prop they'll come up with next. There's a scene where a girl is lifted into the air and doing an R-rated version of the yellow wallpaper. Literary joke? No? No one? Okay. Robert Englund is perfect as Freddy, and I love how joyful and perverted the character is. This is the kind of villain that likes playing with his food. Considering the power he holds, it makes him an imposing bad guy even with the rugby shirt and fedora. A more clashing outfit there never was. The movie came out in 1984, which was one of the most iconic years in the arts. Nightmare on Elm Street isn't just a well-conceived and entertaining watch, but it's a nice time capsule. The outfits, the music, the sloshy practical effects, and a very young Johnny Depp. Man, when it comes to mattresses, that guy cannot get a break. Sure, the last 5 minutes of this is not only unnecessary, but rivals Goldfinger for funniest scene of someone being yeeted through a window award. But for sheer creativity and having the creativity make sense in context, Nightmare on Elm Street is a must-watch for any horror fan. Next is The Innocents, a Norwegian film from 2021. Okay, so do you guys remember that really bad comic book movie? Alright, I'll narrow it down. You remember that really bad movie in the X-Men universe? Shit. Remember that really bad X-Men movie with that Game of Thrones actress? Damn it! Okay, remember New Mutants, the movie that promised to be superpowers plus horror? The Innocents is basically that, with the ages brought down to elementary school level instead of the writing. Childhood and horror are a great combination on film. Imagination can run wild, critical thinking isn't fully developed, and audience members instinctively want to protect children. The Innocents doubles down on this, showcasing moments of discovery, bullying, trauma, and fragile friendship in a way more genuine than I expected. The kids act like kids, and I never once felt like I was watching an actor or hearing the words of a screenwriter. And as a result, it's fascinating to watch how the lonely girl or damaged boy use powers of telekinesis and mind control. Fans of Longlegs will appreciate the kind of oppressive atmosphere that runs through this film. There's a harrowing scene on a staircase, which wouldn't work nearly as well without the moody cinematography and visceral sound design. It's a good-looking film that, while a bit slow, I'll admit, escalates at the right beats without feeling cheap or cheesy. The Innocents is dramatic, disturbing, and has a lot to say without having to say it too loudly. Also, it gets a lot of mileage out of telekinesis. They easily could have given a kid the power of flight or something. Then again, there's always that risk of flying looking, stupid. Especially on Netflix. Next is Underwater from 2020. Alright, I gotta be a negative Nathan first. The biggest problem here is TJ Miller. The lines aren't funny and aren't delivered well, the actor doesn't fit the environment, and his presence saps all the tension out of every scene.
There's some Slender Man some shit.
Hey, it's not funny.
Kristen Stewart's performance is fine. The story follows standard beats of a claustrophobic, escape the creatures flick like Pandorum or The Descent, except the characters aren't as well written or captivating to watch. So why is it here? Because Underwater does an incredible job conveying deep sea underwater, not only in a way that's believable, but in a way that sets you in an entirely different world and mood. It's the closest to the movie version of the video game Soma. What I admire is that they don't sugarcoat it. Visibility is always bad. The water is murky with detritus and glare from their suit lamps. And sure, yeah, some people will go, damn it, I want to see that thing better. For me, they give you just enough of the creatures, but not too much that the mystery is lost. The film has a good variety of indoor and outdoor shots, so that murkiness never becomes overwhelming. In both areas, the danger is always there. The danger feels dangerous. That is crucial. And if you aren't sold on the atmosphere, then you need to watch it for a certain reveal. I won't spoil it, it was one of the craziest reveals in a movie I've seen in a while. I had the biggest smile on my face. Underwater was better than I expected, and that reveal wasn't just the cherry on top, but one soaked in bourbon. Check this one out. And also, don't forget to comment below if you've seen any of these movies, and subscribe if you want to support the channel. It means a lot.
Not gonna make it. Close the door. You have to close the door, otherwise the whole rig will die. Shut the door now!
Next is Altered States from 1980. It's a movie I can best describe as a smorgasbord of sci-fi horror. Altered States gets into some weird shit. What starts as a scientist running experiments in deprivation tanks turns into a horror odyssey, where physics and time are about as firm as Jell-O, and the further into oblivion our protagonist descends, the more encouraged he becomes. It's pure escalation, and scenes both in and out of the experiments are always trying to put you in an uneasy place. Like the early sex scene. There's an unsettling tribal frenzy to it. You don't really want to watch it. Later, we get to see a character regress to an ape-like creature and run amok in the city. Oh, did I mention that someone becomes primordial ooze? What will probably throw people off is the dated special effects. The green screen is about as convincing as Black Widow, and some of the elements look like screensavers on the Windows XP. There's some great dialogue. Not just about science, but about purpose, about marriage, about happiness. You don't need to sacrifice writing for sweet, gooey visuals. Altered States makes them both work. It's a total trip.
She insists she's in love with me, whatever that is. What she means is she prefers the senseless pain we inflict on each other to the pain we would otherwise inflict on ourselves. But I'm not afraid of that solitary pain. In fact, if I don't strip myself of all this clatter and clutter and ridiculous ritual, I shall go out of my fucking mind.
Next is Jeepers Creepers from 2001. Jeepers Creepers engaged me pretty much immediately. The driving sequence is very tense, and it ramped up much faster than I expected. I was impressed with the monster design, a mix of a bug, a bat, and a rancher that gave me a different kind of emotion than most monsters. I felt something rank and seedy from some deep south backwater. I could practically smell it, and it did not smell good. I love the brother-sister relationship. They bicker, she scolds him, and he weakly defends his stupidity. I totally bought the actors, and at points, it reminded me of myself and my own sister. The film dives into the idea of people being stronger or weaker than each other, but not in terms of physical strength. Bravery, resourcefulness, intelligence, tenacity. These are what make you a finalist in the world of horror. Jeepers Creepers is a great rental for horror fans, and perfect for Halloween. It moves fast, the characters are fun to watch, and the horror is potent enough that if I ever hear that specific car horn again, I may have a heart attack. Last up is the 1997 film I Know What You Did Last Summer. Apart from sounding like something I would say to Disney as I smash their face into the poopy they left, I Know What You Did Last Summer is one of my all-time favorite slashers. Instead of putting a bunch of quippy idiots in danger as you wait for their terrible dialogue to end so they can get turned into a pincushion, it's a delight to see a horror flick where you actually like the characters. Isn't it crazy how rare that is? Not only are the characters entertaining, but they're all played by late 90s heartthrobs, which probably helped raise the tension for many audience members. Like, imagine a movie where, I don't know, Keanu Reeves, Glenn Powell, Emma Stone, and Paddington were getting picked off one by one. It's also worth noting that the main weapon comes from the classic story about a hook-wielding killer on the road. It's like the film was trying to tap into the most vulnerable spots of 90s teenage brains. Urban legends and spiky-haired actors. All you'd need is the killer to dump a crate of Dunkaroos overboard, and you'd put every millennial on life support. The setup we've seen before. 4 teens accidentally kill someone and don't report it. And a year later, someone sends them a note with the movie title. Mistrust and paranoia breeds from the 4 leads, and with so few characters, they have to face the possibility that one of them might be the killer. How well do you really know someone?
I got a letter. Oh, you got a letter. I got run over. Helen gets her hair chopped off. Julie gets a body in a trunk, and you get a letter? That's balanced.
What sucks though is that these qualities, the entertaining or not too thinky, are often attributed to some real garbage. This is the good version of that. Something sleek, something standard that does its job really well. Check this one out, it's a great time. That's my list of more horror movies that are actually good. Check out this playlist of the other videos in this series, as well as this video about the best horror acting. Subscribe, comment below, I love all the support. Thanks for watching.